of it. How many people here, by show of hands, and please raise your hand if it's true, feel like their digital marketing, forget about social, feel like their digital marketing is going well and is impacting their business in a positive way? Raise your hands. That's what I'm actually weirdly worried about. That was more than half the audience, and here's where I'm excited. I don't believe that most of us understand how early it is, and I'm worried that you haven't gone deep enough while you're thinking about going wider. From a pure practical sense, I feel like a lot of people are debating their podcast or their Facebook watch video shows or their vlog or an Alexa skill because you're paying attention to what I'm putting out for free on a daily basis. You're doing well on Facebook ads or Google ads, but you're leaving so much more on the table. I know this because even I'm doing that. Like, I know for fact that I should be running, this would be ROI positive for my life. I should probably be running somewhere in the ballpark of $100,000 to $200,000 a month in Instagram ads. And I'm spending 10. So just think about the delta. Like, this is a conversation I had yesterday with Andy. I'm like, fuck man, these Instagram ads are so fucking cheap, right? My content is doing so well on that platform. How many people here are pretty into Instagram right now? Raise your hands. Weird, everyone. And yet, I'm not fully squeezing it. And so I think the vulnerability for a 301, a 201 executor of what's going on is the fact that we aren't fully going deep enough. And so what I would challenge everybody to think about this morning more than anything is a couple things. Number one, the Facebook arbitrage of its cost is stunningly underpriced. If I could give you the biggest piece of advice, that would be blanket, that I know everybody could be affected by, whether you have a restaurant or did, whether you have a liquor store or did, whether you're in the real estate business, insurance. I know for fact, that you could 4 to 50 times X your investment in both creative, the pictures, the videos, the written words, and in actually spending the ads to get far more. The fact that you're spending and it's working is hiding the fact that there's a lot more underneath that. And I would really, really, really take advantage of this morning to set up the mindset for you to realize there's probably a lot more going on in the depth than there is in the width. Before you get inspired to start your show, your podcast, your Alexa skill, what's going on with Vine 2 when it comes out, before you do that, which you should, but I feel like for most of us, including myself, that should be 20% of our energy and mind, and 80% should be looking very carefully at what's working and getting far more committed to it. Because when I look back at Google for me, and again, I know I'm making too many assumptions this morning that most people know who I am. Wine Library was built on Google and email, right? Like the narrative, over time gets manipulated and it's like social media. Wine Library was built on Google and email. I was built on social media. Wine Library TV was built on social media, which had a great impact. But when there was no money and there was very little marketing dollars, and that's the case for so many, no matter where you are, whether you're holding back the money because you want to buy shit instead of reinvesting it in your business, or because your business is still small and you don't have the money, the way to go from somewhere to a totally different level is actually very intriguing. It's based on being right. It's based on being very smart. It's based on your spending. A lot of people here compete with each other theoretically, just for attention. Forget about being in the, I think one thing that our Budweiser client taught me in a meeting a couple years ago for VaynerMedia blew my mind. I'm in it. It's early. I don't know their business very well. And I'm talking about competing with Heineken and Coors Light. And they looked at me like, oh, child. They're like, we don't compete with that. We compare for share of throat. We're not competing with Heineken. We're competing for everybody's share of throat. They're worried about bottled water. They're worried about Sprite. They're worried about coconut water. They're worried about fucking oxygen. And so I think one thing that I want to make sure everybody understands here, being in the businesses that you are, you naturally have some great competitiveness. But when you meet somebody here today and they're from Guatemala, like I met the lovely guy from this morning, and you're from Cincinnati, doesn't feel like you're really competing with each other because you're not selling homes or products or trying to get their travel business in the same market. I think you are competing because to get attention is one feed. It's a supply of attention. And so for me, what I wanted to establish this morning, knowing that there was a ridiculous lineup of other speakers, knowing that a lot of the speakers we strategically picked are going to go into more details, I wanted to really go into the nuances of the mindset that I think it will help to take people to the next level. Look, here's something else that's super interesting to me. We are living through an incredibly interesting time right now where because of the state of our country, because in the political realm and in the parenting realm, we are now in full mode of demonizing technology. If you go read the headlines that the masses are reading, we are demonizing technology. Facebook and Twitter are jeopardizing our democracy. Kids are spending too much time on these iPads, blah, 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 blah. This is an incredible opportunity. This is making me very happy. I am hoping that the mainstream media and social media continues to shit on technology, because what that's going to mean is people are going to back off of it. They're going to get confused about that, and it's going to leave me more time to grab the land supply that I'm looking for. I prefer when people are going down paths that are the conventional wisdom that I don't agree with. I love when all of you hit me up on Twitter when somebody says something like, Facebook sucks, and you guys retweet me and you're like, Gary Vee, what do you think? Because you want me to come in and punch him in the fucking face. And when I see that tweet in my stream, I smile. Because I'm like, yes, Facebook sucks. And so I think there's a really incredible theme that I'm trying to create in these first 10 minutes, which is the following. For the fact that I've been ranting about this stuff for a decade, and this is, by the way, why I wrote Crushing It. I never, ever, ever thought I would write a follow-up to that book, because I thought in 2008, and then it came out in 2009, that in a decade, it would be conventional wisdom that people could make money on YouTube and Instagram. How many people read Crush It around the time it came out? Raise your hands. Awesome. So for a lot of you, you remember, it was a little bit out there. It was like, if you go read the first 300-400 reviews of Crush It on Amazon, a lot of it's like, this is straight bullshit. Nobody's ever gonna make $100,000 on YouTube. Like, it was like completely crazy talk. It literally, like, and just for the youngsters in here or people that kind of came along the way, you know, later on, and now this is all accepted, it would be like me standing here right now and saying things like, you're gonna sell virtual homes on VR, and you're gonna make $14 million a year selling virtual homes that don't exist, right? Like, and most people just won't believe that. Like, you could guess and you'd be like, cool, maybe, and this and that. But don't forget, we also didn't have the last decade of technology advances when I talked about that. People hadn't accepted the internet. There were still people not really into the internet in 2008 and 2009. And so what strikes me this morning is a very simple fact. For everything that has happened, for all the obviousness, for the kid, you know, I know 20-year-olds that are making $40 to $70 million a year on the back of their Instagram and YouTube and selling merchandise. These numbers have become staggering. Like, just so you guys know, in the next 36 months, next 4 years, it will become obvious to America and the world that celebrities on social media are making dramatically more money than celebrities in real life. When you guys read the headline that 2 kids that do soccer tricks are making on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram in 5 years are making more money than Ronaldo, shit's gonna get confusing. And this is what's happening. And so I guess the energy that I really want to bring this morning, very simply in this calm demeanor, is it hasn't even started. And I think a lot of us think it's in it, that we're in it, that it's been happening, that a lot of good stuff has happened for others, for ourselves. Literally, if you're in this audience and have done nothing, you have 401 followers on Twitter, your Facebook page is still your personal page and you don't have a fan page, you've done nothing on Instagram, literally if you're at nothing, which is, by the way, extremely rare for this audience, but common for most of mine, I actually think that the audience I spoke to yesterday in New Orleans who were construction and general contractors who are not in this at all have a weird slight advantage over a lot of people in here, which is why I'm using this as my opening rant. They have heard about all this stuff but haven't started, and so for them it's a clean slate and they're just going in. You've already been affected positively or negatively. You've already had successes and failures. You've already quantified this.